The elf from Shelf. There once was a fellow from Shelf who made fun of himself. His classmates rattle on his little tattle, that crazy little elf from Shelf. I like both of those lyric poems. I think they're cute and creative. What is up, everyone? It's Alex. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. Hi, if you're returning. Hello. I hope everyone is doing well. I am dressed colorfully today, and I'm in a different environment than my previous videos because, well, we're going back to 6th and 7th grade today. You see, April is Poetry Month. It happens to be my birthday month as well. It is my favorite time of year. It's spring, new beginnings, Aries season. Shout out to my fellow Aries. And Poetry Month, like being born in Poetry Month is great when you're a poet because it's like this spiritual thing, you know? It's like I feel like maybe I was meant to be a poet. So we're going to actually go down memory lane today and look at poems I made in 6th and 7th grade and talk about them. So a little background for these poems that I'm about to read to you. In 6th and 7th grade, I had the same English teacher. Shout out to Miss Fossen, you were amazing. And our project in 6th and 7th grade, we had to do a poetry book. And this was really the first time I was exposed to all sorts of different forms of poetry. And this would be the beginning of my foray into the art form of poetry. After Miss Fossen's 6th grade assignment, I was hooked. We were driving from Vegas to California, and it was like 4 or 5 hour drive, and I just started writing poems. They were so much fun, and then it inspired my mom to write some too. She was inspired by me. I felt so special. I was like, well, that's cool. My mom is a graphic designer, and she was really into Shutterfly at the time, like super into Shutterfly. She would make photo books about everything. And so she read some of my poems, and she thought they were so cute and adorable, I'm assuming. And she was like, let me draw some illustrations and put it in a book. And my mom did this. She made a little book for me. It was so awesome. It was so cool, like seeing... As a kid, like seeing my poems like published in a little book. I mean, not published, but put in a little book, and then my mom has the illustrations, and it reminds me of the start of my poetic journey, essentially. We should get into the video now, right? I feel like I've been talking a million miles a minute. Okay, let's go. The first one is titled Ocean, and it says it's an alliteration poem. Seashells slip and slide on the sandy shore. What more can I adore? Colorful clowns of coral, crustaceans, and clams. A perfect fit for a comical bam. The whiskey wind whips on the wavy waves, rolling and crashing to the rhythm of the bays. Yeah, I love this one. You know, as a kid, I think a lot of the poetry we read and we talk about and we write tends to have a lot of rhymes. And then as I've grown older, I've noticed that I use a lot of alliteration for some sound effects and everything. And so this definitely is that beginning of the alliterations. And of course, I wrote about the ocean. That first line, seashells slip and slide on the sandy shore. What more can I adore? Damn, that's kind of good. I think that's good. The next one sounds fun. It's called What is Candy? ? Okay, what is candy? Candy is like a sweet sensation to my life's code. Candy is like the path of a forbidden road. Candy is as memorable as life because candy is like an abstract that gives sight. Okay, so pause. A little insight into what I've figured out about my poetry. I learned, like when I was writing poetry from this moment on until really maybe a couple years ago, when I started taking poetry a little bit more seriously, I kind of wrote a little abstractly. Like I wrote like just whatever came to mind, and I didn't really revise or edit. And I've learned that that's pretty important to the writing process, you know, as I've gotten older and I've been practicing more. In this poem, I'm making these images that kind of make sense, but not really. Like because candy is like an abstract that gives sight. What does that mean? I do like candy is like a sweet sensation to my life's code. I'm not sure if I know what I necessarily mean by that, but I like the sound of it, which is probably why I wrote it in the first place. See, sometimes I write like that, but then like now I will shove a poem in my desk and like keep it there for a couple of weeks and then go back to it and reread. It could be a poem or a short story or a script that I'm working on, and then I'll look at it with new eyes and it'll be like, what was I trying to say here? But I like this idea again. I like the concept. Moving on, this one's called Dream. Okay, so we're getting some interesting illustration here by me. It says, my dream is a galaxy, filling my mind with imagination. My dream is a roller coaster, filling my heart with emotions. My dream is my life. My dream is spice and ice. My dream is spice and ice. That's what... Sorry. I don't know. Okay, clearly I didn't use any punctuation here. And it's killing me now that I'm looking. Which is why I read it as if there was like no pauses, because I didn't use any periods here. My dream is a galaxy filling my mind with imagination. I like that. I like that metaphor of, yeah, dreams I have tend to be like whole different worlds that, you know, I imagine while I'm asleep. My dream's a roller coaster filling my heart with emotion. These are very, you know, for 6th grade, I can see like, you know, as an adult, if I wrote this now, it's like, this is these are metaphors that mainly are a little basic, I guess, if you will. But yeah, looking at it from an adult, it's cute. My dream is my life. My dream is my life. My dream is my life? See, but now that's like putting me into an existential crisis. Like, are my dreams my life? Are they a part of my life? Are they the real life? Like, was I onto something? Was little me onto something? The last line cracks me up. My dream is spice and ice. I don't really know what that's supposed to mean. It's cute. It's funny. I was a figure skater during this time, so that's probably where the ice comes into play here. Okay, the next one is an imagery poem called Balloon, and it has an illustration of a balloon, and it says pop, pop, pop on it. Okay, it says, smooth like slippery glass on the Arctic shore, the taste of hot air comes to mind, smells like rubber and plastic, an eerie combination, an upside-down teardrop floats up in the sky, a peculiar sound when rubbed, the piece remain unfound, in the atmospheric graveyard where relatives have had sound. Okay. This one also barely has any punctuation. There's like a comma, and I forgot an S on the word remains. So grammar please there. I like this smooth like slippery glass on the Arctic shore. I'm describing the surface of a balloon. I do really like that image, and that is totally an image that is kind of in line with how types of images I like to do now as well. I like an upside down teardrop floats up in the sky. I think that's a cute way of saying what a balloon is in this sixth grade mindset. Ooh, okay, I remember this one being one of my favorites back then. It was called Message in a Bottle. It helps me get back where I belong. Cursive and print don't get along. I like it when I find a bottle and see the message waddle. I'm stranded. I just like how it's so cutesy, and then it's like, I'm stranded. Help. I don't know, I still like it. It's kind of funky. It's weird. I'm addicted to ice cream. If you have to know anything about me, I'm addicted to ice cream and islands, so that's why we got Message in a Bottle and this next poem called Ice Cream Town. Like, I'm just imagining right now, Ice Cream Town. Like, what would that look like? I need to put that in an AI system or something, see what it would be. But this is a mood poem. I'm not quite sure what that means here, but creating a mood, a vibe, I guess. I don't know. Colorful flavors everywhere, syrups and ice falling from the sky, children playing, sledding down the slopes, chocolate and marshmallow drizzle down, strawberries laid in a row, cut off by the rest of the world, smiles in the sky, can't wait for dessert. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to describe what an ice cream town would look like in my mind, and this doesn't do it for me now as an adult, but as a kid I could see, like, I was like, yes, this is Ice Cream Town. But as an adult, if I was to rewrite this poem, again, I'd be a little bit more specific and a little bit clearer with the images and make them really pop off the page. Like, children playing, sledding down the slopes. The slopes of what? The slopes of vanilla ice cream, or maybe they're rocky road slopes and you have to watch out for the nuts and jump in the marshmallows, and the marshmallows are like trampolines and they can send you into the galaxy of sprinkles or something. Like, stuff like that is probably how I should have written this poem, or if I would rewrite it now is how I would do so. But I love how I have not changed in that respect of ice cream. Still love ice cream. Okay, the next one says, me as food, with an exclamation point and a question mark. My mind is pizza, open-minded to new toppings. My hair is yamista, a combination of organic colors. My eyes are chocolate chips, big, brown, and sweet. My teeth are chips, crunch, crunch, crunch. My heart is strawberry waffles, a sweet sensation. Aww! I like it. And I may have to explain here. Yamista, I might have spelt it wrong, is a Greek dish, and it happens to be my favorite. It's essentially stuffed tomatoes or stuffed peppers, and so that's what that is. My hair is yamista, a combination of organic colors. That's an interesting sentence. My hair is stuffed tomatoes. But yeah, no, my hair has several colors to it, like naturally, like a red natural, and at the time it probably had some blonde from sun exposure. I like my eyes are chocolate chips, and my mom would also say that. So I like that because that's personal, but also it's a little cliche. My teeth are chips, crunch, crunch, crunch. That's just kind of funny. My heart is strawberry waffles, a sweet sensation. I was definitely eating a lot of strawberry waffles at the time for breakfast. Like, we would take them in the car to go, like me and my brother, because we were always running late for school. This last poem on the photos that I took on my phone is called Rainforest. Okay. Tito the toucan twisted and tumbled, flying over the twisty vines, making a curvy line. Samantha the slimy salamander slithered and slid, making a strong enough tide. Petey the pirate-like python played the piccolo part in a playful tune under the light of the moon. Petey. I do like this. This is cute. Like, I could see this now in a book for children. I think it's cute. Let's see here. I am. My mom put flowers because I love flowers. Probably has something to do with the poem I'm about to read. I am intelligent and creative, an A+ student and an artist. I am the ocean, organized and beautiful. I am the sound of flowers blooming in the spring, ready for the sun. I am the pigments that make up the colors of the flowers, shades of feelings. Complex creature, even back then. I am a fish, swimming like there is no tomorrow. I am a hurricane, wipes out gorgeous cities. I am the joy of my family every day. I am a flower, thirsty for fun. Okay, this is funny. I am a hurricane. It's kind of strong. Like, that's not really joyous. Like, the rest of the poem is like super happy, and then it's like, I am a hurricane. I can destroy gorgeous cities. Like, it's a very dark line for such a happy, otherwise joyous poem. The next poem is called Summer on the Beach, and this is one of those acrostic poems. I was going to say acoustic poems, and I just realized acrostic. Sun warms my skin, umbrella keeps away the burns, memories are kept, moments are returned, everyone is happy, rays of sunshine beat down on the sand. Of all the places I can go, none of them is better. Tan my skin, for I don't get burned. Hot weather everywhere. Breezy winds and burning sand, enjoying the air. An octopus comes up along the other sea life following behind, catching a glimpse of this sight. Hooray for a happy day. Dear 6th grade Alex, I regret to inform you that you will get older and your skin will indeed burn because you spend all of high school pretty much inside, and then the pandemic happens after college and you spend more time inside, and then you go to a deserted island with your mom a week ago and you do get burned. You were too excited to search for seashells that you didn't put on sunscreen. So for the next 4 hours, you burned. You did not tan. You burned. I remember writing this poem, and I remember thinking that I really love this poem, but from a poetic standpoint, from this adult perspective, there's nothing really special about it in my eyes. I like the idea. I like the having summer on the beach as the starting point. Maybe I'll rewrite it now. But it's still cute to see, like, okay, I obviously really enjoyed the beach as a kid, and I still do, but I had a more joyous thoughts about the beach. Like now, some of the poems I've written now about the ocean in the past couple of months have been celebratory of the ocean, but also have been questioning like the enormity of it, like the danger of it. I read a book about ocean folklore, and I've read about a book about mermaids recently, and ocean mythology, and it's, the ocean for a lot of people is a dangerous place, and so I've been adding those little nuances and those questions into my poems that I write about the ocean now, whereas this one is very, very childlike and very like, the sand, the sun, the salt, it's still cute. Oh, I remember this one. This is funny. My annoying brother. Okay, you see, I have 2 brothers. One of them was so sweet, so precious. The other one, the literal opposite. He was like a literal bug. I was so annoyed with him at this time. I wrote a poem. I wrote, my brother. He always teases me until I stop him and yell. He always asks me if he can play my Nintendo when he knows the answer is no. He always harasses my dog, and when he was little, he used to pinch me until I cried. He always does something that gets on my nerves, and when I tell him stop, he stops after he has been slapped. He always has an interesting fact to say, but when I say an interesting fact, he always blahs away. Blah, blah, blah. That's hilarious. I'm going to read this to him on his wedding day. Okay, I remember this one. Frown the clown. This is really cute. I once met a clown named Frown. Every day he whined because he felt he let kids down, but whenever he did a trick, a kid kicked that poor clown from Frown. I think it's cute. It's a little limerick type of thing. Here's another one. The elf from Shelf. There once was a fellow from Shelf who made fun of himself. His classmates rattle on his little tattle, that crazy little elf from Shelf. I like both of those lyric poems. I think they're cute and creative. So I didn't get to all the poems in this book, but I do want to read this one because it's a bit different, as you'll see from my other poems. It's called Day. The sunset falls and so does the day. The reappearance of the moonlight brightens the city. Stars in the night sky, rearranged in constellations, appear. The earth turns slowly, and the moon soon fades. Dawn breaks through the sky, the sun shining bright. Pools of emerald shine through on ice sheets that appeared overnight. Birds chirping is just the beginning of a newly painted day. That's when the canvas of life appears on the hilltop of Snow City, on the mountain range across the sky. And so, as you can see, it's a bit more narrative, a bit more storytelling. I changed the style a bit, and I actually wrote this. I think I was in 8th grade, so I definitely wrote this after these the 2 original poetry books were made in 6th and 7th grade. And I remember feeling like that was a turning point in my poetic journey here. It just felt more mature to me than the poems I had done previously, only a couple of grades or a grade before. But thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me to my middle school years and looking over my middle school poems. As I've grown older, I realize it's important to see where I started and how far I've came along. As writers, I think it's inspiring to do that, and this has definitely, a lot of these poems are super cute and there's some good things from them, and then I've noticed now, like, I can point out what went wrong or how I could make it better. And so I think if you are a writer of any kind, especially if you're a poet, going back through your old stuff from childhood is a good idea, just to see how far you've come and like what your thought process had been back then, and can you identify what you would do differently now. I think that's a sign that you're improving your craft, and I think that's so important. And if you're an educator, a teacher, a parent, an older sibling, and you want to introduce poetry to students in a fun way, I would suggest doing what my teacher, Miss Boston, did, which was create a poetry book. Give students all of that creative freedom and range, teach them some basic forms of poetry, and let them have fun with it. Let them go wild. Because of that project, I am still writing poetry to this day. That project opened my eyes to what poetry as an art form was. And my mom encouraged me to keep going. She saw something in these poems and told me to keep practicing, to keep going. And there were times where I stopped for years. I wouldn't write a single poem. But I had this book to look back on. I had the book before this book to look back on, the original drafts. And every time I would look back on them, it was apparent that something was there. I had a lot of fun writing these and illustrating the original drafts, and it kept inspiring me. I think if we lead in with a fun project like this and we get kids into poetry at a younger age, they're going to be more open and more willing to dive into more mature poetry in high school. If you have poem from your childhood that you wrote that you would love to share, I would love to read it. Put it down in the comments below. I hope you had fun watching this video, and I hope it inspires you to go back into your attic and find all of your childhood poetry. Looking forward to reading some of your guys's, whoever posts in the comments below, and have a great rest of your day.